Good morning, and thank you so much for coming into Volunteering SA and NT and talking to us about your volunteering journey. And this is part of a collection of stories, Share Your Story, celebrating and acknowledging all the wonderful work that volunteers do. Well, how did you start volunteering?
Well, I grew up in Adelaide, moved to Sydney for 30 years and then moved back to Adelaide, very coincidentally at the start of COVID, which was fortunate. And I had retired, so the intention was to look for volunteering opportunities because I didn't really need to, be in paid work. So, that's what I started to do. How I came across Holiday Explorers was that I went on a small cruise out of Adelaide to Adelaide. And on that cruise, there was actually only about 35 passengers. There was a mother and daughter from Melbourne, and Catherine was intellectually disabled. Spent a bit of time with her, taking her on walks and doing things with us, and really enjoyed it. And it would be something, if there's an organisation like that I could get involved in. And so did a bit of Googling when I got home. Came across this organisation called Holiday Explorers. Thought, I must contact them and find out a bit more about it. Put it off for a little while, happened to go to the cinema at Goodwood, and a big ad came on the movie screen there for Holiday Explorers. I thought, that's too much of a sign, I better ring. So I phoned the next day and sort of joined up.
Sometimes opportunities just drop into our line of sight, don't they? It's interesting how life does these things.
Yeah, they do. And I think for me it was the spark was I was looking to do something that wasn't, I used to work in finance, so I didn't want to volunteer and do things that I used to do at work. So for me it was something that was active, interesting, and also, the people that you're helping, you feel like you're adding value.
So what do you actually do there at Holiday Explorers?
We take groups of people on anything from day trips to overnight trips. I've been on a couple of sort of 4 to 5 day holidays as well with them, where I suppose we're like their support people, but I feel that our role is also to make sure that they have a really interesting, exciting, fun day.
And it's different people each time?
It's different people each time, varying from early 20s through to people in their 80s. And so there's quite a mixture, but it's very rewarding and surprising, the number that remember you, like remember me. And so when I come back again, I've got to run through my memory and think, wow, that's probably about 12 months ago. But the details they remember about what we did on this other trip is always a really nice feeling.
So what are some of the destinations?
So the longer trips we've done, I did one around the Eyre Peninsula, right out to Streaky Bay and back through Port Lincoln. Another one was a cruise from Adelaide to Melbourne, took in Kangaroo Island, Phillip Island, things like that. But the overnight trips I really enjoy. We do some with Operation Flinders, who are another organisation here in Adelaide, do some great work. They help us with overnight trips that are more staying in campsites, caravan parks, and we do kayaking and abseiling and all that sort of thing.
And how many people might be on one trip then?
Quite often it'd be 4. So there's always sort of 2 bus support staff, and usually it's a 1-to-2 ratio. So it's usually about 4 clients. Yeah, and other ones involve the theatre, going up to Cleveland National Park, Wildlife Park, sporting events. The variety really extends to a lot of different things. Yeah, it gives you those opportunities to get back to different places.
And good to share it with other people who might not otherwise be able to see them. But I think you do other things there as well, don't you? I think Tamara mentioned you help with perhaps other volunteers in mentoring them.
Yeah, we get involved in training, guiding others and the volunteers that come on board. I'm looking forward, they're setting up sessions where we can get involved in the actual activities that are arranged, helping to share ideas, and which I'm quite excited about because I think that's where potentially some of my work history can add value without that being the role I'm performing all the time. But getting involved in what are their challenges to make these trips viable for everyone, how can we do them differently, how can we change things around, and that sort of thing too. That's what I'm looking forward to, seeing what else we can get involved in to help as things move forward.
Your enjoyment comes from facilitating those experiences?
They put out a quarterly roster and you indicate what you're interested in. I always put down whatever days I'm available. I do quite a few other things myself. So I'll put down just days I'm available and say, I'll do anything, go anywhere. And so therefore you get quite a bit of variety. You go to some things that I wouldn't choose to do on my own, but they're quite good because then your full focus is on making sure our clients have a great experience or a great day.
Was there anything that made it particularly easy for you to begin volunteering?
Probably with Holiday Explorers, the team there, Tamara and Hayley in particular, that I first got involved with were very welcoming. It was very clear the process we needed to go through, the training, the checks they helped facilitate. But I think also the training was all well organised and straightforward, and you felt confident in being prepared to do these trips. We have people that have health issues as well. You've got to manage medication. There's quite a few things you do need to get across, and at first that can be a little bit concerning or daunting. Yes, it's done in such a way that they've got some good processes that you can follow, and that covers all that off.
Yes, it's a big responsibility in the end, and the training then really helps with managing that and makes you feel comfortable. Is there anything that you would say to somebody who's thinking about volunteering?
Well, just that it's very rewarding, I think, personally, and you get involved, you meet a whole range of people, both in the other support staff and all our clients. Yeah, you definitely feel like you're helping them, but I think it is personally very fulfilling and satisfying that you are involved with people that may not get the opportunities to do some of these outings without people to help out.
And so this was your first experience of volunteering because you were busy before with your career?
Yes, in a formal way. I help out another organisation as well. Having that sort of social side of is good fun. My aim was always to find things that were quite active to do, but I think there's a whole raft of volunteer opportunities. I'd rather be doing something. I think I grew up playing a lot of sport. My parents were very involved in, and I think going back 40 odd years, you did a lot that wasn't considered volunteering. It was just how the community worked through either sporting groups or church groups. People just took on roles that were unpaid, and that was just part of growing up. I then got very busy with my career, but I am always really pleased when you see there's quite a few people that are still working and volunteering as well. So in the back of my mind, it's probably something I should have been more involved in. We did some through work and things like that, but not in the same capacity as I'm doing now, and I look forward to keep doing.
Different organisations acknowledge the volunteer workforce in different ways. How do they do that at Holiday Explorers?
I think the feedback you get from Tamara and the team there is sort of fairly regular and constant, and I guess in some ways I don't feel like my contribution is that great or that I could be doing more, but they always reinforce that no, that you're very valued and that type of thing. They have some formal times where they get the volunteers together and celebrate what we've been doing and the contribution that we make, which is always lovely as well. I think I'm fortunate, and that's where there's a good fit with Holiday Explorers, in that I get the satisfaction out of the clients being happy, having a good day, and probably feel the most valued when they remember things about our past trips and they say something to me, and you start to build that rapport with the clients as well. I think that probably gives me the satisfaction that I'm looking for out of it.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing that you do. My goodness, to facilitate trips, day trips and overnight trips to people who otherwise would not be able to do that. Sounds wonderful, Anne.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in today. You have been so kind in giving up your time to come in and do this, and volunteering SANNT. Really appreciate it. I hope we'll be able to tell your story in a place that will encourage other people too.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, Anne.